A long, long time ago in ancient China, there was a period called the Warring States. This era was marked by constant turmoil and conflict, as various states vied for power and dominance. The landscape of China was fragmented, with each state trying to assert its influence over the others. It was a time of great uncertainty and instability, but also a period of significant cultural and intellectual development. It lasted from 475 BCE to 221 BCE. This period saw the rise and fall of many states, each with its own ambitions and strategies. The constant warfare led to advancements in military tactics and technologies, but it also caused widespread suffering and displacement among the people. Despite the chaos, this era laid the groundwork for the eventual unification of China under the Qin dynasty. It was a time of lots of fighting and big changes. The states were constantly at war, forming and breaking alliances in a bid to gain the upper hand. The battles were fierce and often brutal, with large armies clashing on the fields. The strategies employed during these wars were complex and sophisticated, reflecting the high stakes involved. The constant state of conflict also led to significant social and political changes, as leaders sought new ways to maintain control and ensure their survival. The Zhou dynasty, which was once very powerful, had broken apart into many smaller states that were always at war with each other. The central authority of the Zhou had weakened, leading to the rise of regional powers. These smaller states were often ruled by ambitious warlords who sought to expand their territories and influence. The fragmentation of the Zhou dynasty created a power vacuum, which further fueled the conflicts. The constant warfare and political instability had a profound impact on the lives of the people, who had to navigate a world of shifting allegiances and uncertain futures. During all this fighting and chaos, new thinkers and philosophers started to appear. These intellectuals sought to make sense of the turbulent times and offer solutions to the problems facing society. They engaged in deep philosophical debates, exploring ideas about governance, ethics, and human nature. Their writings and teachings provided a framework for understanding the world and offered guidance on how to live a virtuous life. The intellectual ferment of this period gave rise to some of the most influential schools of thought in Chinese history. They asked big questions about how to be good, how to govern, and what it means to be human. These philosophers were deeply concerned with the moral and ethical dimensions of life. They sought to understand the nature of virtue and the principles of just governance. Their inquiries led to the development of various philosophical systems, each offering a unique perspective on how to achieve a harmonious and prosperous society. The questions they raised and the answers they proposed continue to resonate with us today, reflecting the timeless nature of their insights. One of these important thinkers was Mozi, who started a philosophy called Mohism. Mozi was a remarkable figure, known for his innovative ideas and practical approach to solving social problems. He challenged the prevailing norms and offered a vision of society based on universal love and mutual benefit. His philosophy emphasized the importance of impartiality and the need to care for all people, regardless of their status or background. Mozi's teachings were revolutionary, advocating for a more equitable and compassionate world. Mozi's teachings were very different from everyone else's. While other philosophers focused on hierarchical relationships and the importance of ritual, Mozi promoted the idea of universal love and practical action. He believed that true virtue lay in benefiting others and that a just society could only be achieved through collective effort and cooperation. Mozi's ideas were both radical and pragmatic, offering a compelling alternative to the dominant philosophies of his time. He questioned the normal way of doing things and suggested a new way to live together peacefully, and with love for everyone. Mozi's philosophy was grounded in the belief that all people have the capacity for goodness, and that society should be organized in a way that promotes the well-being of all its members. He advocated for policies that would reduce conflict and promote harmony, such as equitable distribution of resources and the avoidance of unnecessary wars. Mozi's vision was one of a peaceful and just society, where everyone worked together for the common good. Even though his ideas weren't as popular later on, they're still an important part of Chinese history, showing us a different way to think about a fair and kind society. Mozi's contributions to Chinese thought have left a lasting legacy, reminding us of the value of compassion and the importance of striving for a more just and equitable world. His teachings continue to inspire those who seek to create a better society, offering a timeless message of love, peace, and mutual respect. Even though Mozi was important, we don't know much about his life. His existence is shrouded in mystery, with only fragments of information available to us. Historians think he lived sometime between 470 and 391 BCE, a period marked by significant philosophical and political changes in China. But we don't know exactly when he was born or died. The exact dates of his birth and death remain elusive, lost to the sands of time. We don't even know his real name. The name Mozi is believed to be an honorific meaning Master Mo, rather than his actual given name. Mozi probably means Master Mo, like a title. This was a common practice in ancient China, where scholars and philosophers were often referred to by titles, rather than their birth names. What we do know is that Mozi came from a simple family. Unlike many other philosophers of his time, he did not hail from nobility or wealth. Unlike Confucius, who came from a well-known family, Mozi's background was much more modest. Mozi was probably born into a family of craftspeople. This humble origin likely influenced his philosophical outlook and teachings. This probably shaped how he saw the world, giving him a unique perspective on the value of hard work and practical skills, making him care a lot about everyday people. Mozi's teachings often emphasized the importance of caring for all individuals, regardless of their social status, and dislike how fancy and wasteful the rich rulers were. He was critical of the extravagance and excesses of the ruling class, advocating for a more egalitarian and frugal way of life. Mozi's writings reflect his belief in universal love and meritocracy, ideas that were revolutionary for his time. He argued that everyone, regardless of their background, should be treated with equal respect and given opportunities based on their abilities. He also contributed to military strategy, advocating for defensive fortifications and non-aggression. His practical approach to both philosophy and warfare set him apart from his contemporaries. Despite the lack of detailed records, Mozi's influence on Chinese thought and society is undeniable. His teachings continue to be studied and respected, offering valuable insights into the human condition and the pursuit of a just society. To understand why Mohism became important, we need to look at what was happening at the time. The Warring States period was full of fighting, political tricks, and unrest. Old ways of thinking were falling apart, and everything felt uncertain. Mozi's teachings gave people hope for a fairer and kinder world. Mozi believed that the reason people suffer is because they only care about themselves and their own group. He said people were too loyal to their family, their state, or their social group, and that caused conflict. Mozi's solution was impartial care, which became the most important part of his philosophy. Impartial care, also called jian'ai, is the central idea of Mohism. Mozi believed everyone should love and care for each other equally, no matter who they are, where they come from, or who their family is. This was very different from Confucianism, which focused on respecting your elders and family. Mozi thought that way of thinking was unfair and caused problems. Universal love wasn't just a nice idea to Mozi. He thought it was the answer to all the fighting and suffering. If everyone cared for each other equally, Mozi believed, we could solve all our problems and live in peace. Because of impartial care, Mozi was totally against attacking other countries. He saw war as the opposite of his teachings, a terrible example of selfishness and aggression. Mozi knew that sometimes you have to defend yourself, but he thought starting a war was always wrong and hurt everyone involved. This anti-war idea made Mozi different from other thinkers at the time. Most people thought you needed a strong army to survive, but Mozi believed true strength came from love, compassion, and always trying to make a fair and peaceful world. Besides impartial care and peace, Mohism had other important ideas about how to make a fair society. These ideas were revolutionary for their time and continue to inspire thinkers today. Mozi, the founder of Mohism, was deeply concerned with creating a society where everyone could thrive, regardless of their background or social status. Mozi believed in meritocracy, which means people should get jobs and power based on their skills, not their family. This was a radical departure from the norm, where positions of power were often inherited. Mozi argued that a meritocratic system would ensure that the most capable individuals were in positions of authority, leading to more effective governance and a more just society. He thought this would make society fairer and more efficient. By placing the most qualified people in roles of responsibility, resources could be managed better, and societal issues could be addressed more effectively. This would lead to a harmonious and prosperous community where everyone had the opportunity to succeed. Mozi also thought people should be thrifty, not wasteful. He believed that frugality was essential for the well-being of society. By avoiding unnecessary extravagance and focusing on essential needs, resources could be conserved and used more wisely. This principle of thriftiness was not just about saving money but about ensuring that resources were available for future generations. He thought we should use resources to help everyone, not just a few rich people. Mozi emphasized the importance of sharing resources equitably to create a more inclusive society. He believed that when resources were distributed fairly, it would reduce social inequalities and foster a sense of community and mutual support. Mozi believed in heaven's will, a good force that guides us and rewards good behavior. He saw this divine force as a moral compass that encouraged people to act justly and compassionately. By aligning their actions with heaven's will, individuals could contribute to the greater good and ensure that their society was guided by ethical principles. He said, if we follow impartial care, peace, meritocracy and thriftiness, we can follow heaven's will and make a better world. Mozi's vision was one of a harmonious society where everyone worked together for the common good. By adhering to these principles, he believed that humanity could create a just and prosperous world, guided by the benevolent force of heaven's will. Even though Mohism was popular at first, it became less important after the Warring States period. During the Han Dynasty from 206 BCE to 220 CE, Confucianism became the most important philosophy in China, and Mohism was mostly forgotten. A few things caused this. First, when China became one country under the Qin dynasty in 221 BCE, the constant fighting stopped, so Mozi's ideas about peace seemed less important. Also, Confucianism, which focused on order, family and traditions, was more popular with rulers and eventually became more important than Mohism. Even though Mohism isn't very popular anymore, some of its ideas are still important today. The idea of impartial care is interesting to people who want to fix problems like inequality, discrimination, and war. Mozi's focus on talking and debating with others and his practical way of solving problems is a good example of how to work together in our complicated world. Mozi left a complicated legacy. Even though his philosophy isn't as popular anymore, his ideas are still interesting to people today. His dedication to peace, his idea of impartial care, and his hope for a fair society show us how powerful ideas can be. Even though the world Mozi imagined hasn't happened yet, his teachings remind us to be kind, caring, and to treat everyone with respect. As we face the problems of the 21st century, Mozi's message of universal love and peace is still very important, showing us a way to make a better world.